Hello, gentle viewers. This is Guardian, welcoming you back to Out of the Park Baseball 25 with the Charlotte Silverwolves, who narrowly, and I do mean narrowly, failed to win 3 World Series in a row. And I say narrowly, but really they shit the bed entirely in Game 7. We have a big issue, very, very big issue. Um, Namely the fact that we don't have designated hitters anymore. That is problematic. Um, it's going to significantly change how we build our rosters, and it's going to take a lot of luck in order to get where we need to get. So, be mindful of that. That's going to change how things are. I got all out of my system in last video. I'm not going to sit there and rail in favor of the DL or the DH rather. Um, but just know that that is a thing we have to consider now. What do we need to get better at? For the second or third year in a row, we've struggled through inefficient and ineffective outfield play. Other than Zapata being amazing. Chris Fowler turned out to be a pretty nice little piece that we acquired at the deadline. Which gives me a second to talk about something that I saw on Reddit. One more second. I apologize. Namely, my gosh. Somebody pointing out that you can always get a 70 range center fielder and put him in the ninth hole as if offense is optional. There was a time in baseball history that was true. However, I think it is borderline impossible to just punt on a spot. Which is really weird because I'm a fan of the team that employs Austin Hedges, who has the offensive skills of a particularly intoxicated chimpanzee. However, that's the way that the Guardians like to play their game. I don't agree with it. You cannot punt on offense in 2024 or 2034, as the case may be. You can't do it anymore. You may be forced to do it, which is different. It is a different story to say, I would like to have a player of a certain type, but I can't acquire them. They're not available. They're too expensive. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But if you have the chance to take a slightly less brilliant defender, but take more advantage of their offensive talent, you have to do it. You can't just go tee hee hee. I've got a good defender in center field. And that really hasn't been true for a while. They can certainly be defense first, but the only position that has consistently been okay to be defense only is shortstop. You got to get something out of your center fielders. At least that's my opinion. You're hurting your team if you have a defense only center fielder, unless you literally don't have any other choices. Defense is critical for a center fielder, don't get me wrong. But if you can get somebody who's even a league average hitter at center field, you have to pursue that. They're worth their weight in gold. That being said, we got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. We're gonna need a new first baseman. Because both of my first basemen are rentals, and I'm not paying money for either one of them to stick around. I just don't have that kind of money. Let's get arbitrating after we check on our coaching. I think we're fine for coaching. Oh no, we do need 2 new coaches. Wait, what happened? Did my pitching coach retire? I thought I re-signed him. Whoops. Well, I guess we gotta fix that. So let's get us some new coaches. Now, thankfully, I have some pretty amazing coaches in my league. Do we like easygoing here? We do really like easygoing. So Travis Thompson, welcome to the major leagues. Why do you not want to be a pitching coach? What? Why don't you want to be a pitching coach? Have you just lost your damn mind? I mean, Scott Cassidy is also an excellent choice, but his problem is he struggles with easygoing people. We have a lot of those, so I don't really want to hurt our team potentially. Martin's okay at development. I'd like somebody a little bit better at aging. Corey Burns, I go right to the major leagues because Travis Thompson will not take a promotion as our as our pitching coach. What is happening here? Why can I not promote anybody to the pitching coach? What the fuck is happening? Normal doesn't move the needle for us at all. But he is a pretty damn good coach, so I think promoting him to being our first base coach is highly suitable. And then I think we just move everybody else up a level. So Feliciano, you get to go there. Antoine Anderson, you get to go there. Bobby Seymour will not take a promotion to high A because he isn't considered a hot promotion. So Kerry Novitz, you get promoted. And then we'll hire ourselves a new manager. Mechanics. Nick Cadena, welcome to the team. Like, I'm not concerned about us being able to get an amazing coach. I just find it confusing, very confusing in point of fact, that I can't have a a dude. Personality, please. Let me go ahead and save this view. I'd love somebody easygoing. If we can get a good enough coach, and Ethan Small definitely seems like he could be a good choice, except for the fact he doesn't have a great reputation. Does get along fairly well though. So if all I care about is having maximum chemistry, he's a pretty decent choice. If I take a look at staff roles here, temperamental and easygoing are about the same basically. So if we can get either one of those personality types, then that is a good thing. I want somebody who can keep developing our pitchers even when they hit the major leagues. So I do think Ethan Small is our best choice. So we're gonna go ahead and. Oh, that's why. Okay, I'm stupid. Only the manager can hire the pitching coach. So make a good decision, fuckhead. But I can at least promote his other people. I'm gonna try increasing our ticket prices. If Nashville is $38 a game and we're awesome and they suck, I think it's more than reasonable for us to increase our ticket prices a bit. I don't want to increase them too much because it'll hurt our attendance, but let's go ahead and set ticket prices at $28. We should be able to start making more money, and it should give us a little bit more flexibility. But we'll see what happens. We're second in league in attendance. I think increasing our ticket prices is reasonable. I'm just going to go out on a limb here. Arbitration decisions. These can be quite large. Amari Eob is getting expensive, but I don't have a ton of other players that are worthy of our attention. I don't know why I wouldn't bring him back. Given how important our elite pitching has been to our success as a franchise, I just think it makes sense to keep him around for another year. Same with Jimmy Harmon. Both Harmon and What's His Face has been excellent, and I see no downside to keeping them around for at least another year. Remember, you're basically playing with house money when it comes to arbitration, because the owner can't refuse to pay their minimums. Peyton Toll is gone. I will try to flip him for something interesting, but I have no desire to keep him around for another season. I will look at literally any prospect of any caliber that is worthwhile. Nobody, no problem. No contract for you. Chris Thomason worries me. Because I don't know what his true offensive talent level is. He certainly hits plenty of home runs. That is highly appreciated. And he's certainly an excellent defender. Also highly appreciated. And eventually it's going to get so expensive I can't afford him anymore. I'm not paying him $20 million a year. I don't believe in him that much right now. Maybe I will after another season or two, but for right now, it's going to be arbitration all the way out. I'm not going to give him a long-term deal because he hasn't earned it yet. Chris Fowler, I think, is too valuable to let go right this second. I could have him for basically no money. Not yet. I'm not convinced I want him beyond this season, especially once I have Jason Dominguez. If I can trade Dominguez, or I know that Dominguez isn't going to be useful, then I can free up some money for him. But for right now, 1-year deal is fine. Nate Rosario, I have to let him go. I have to let him find a team that will actually give him an opportunity. I will shortlist him, but I am not going to keep him. I would try trading him, but I don't think I'm going to get anything either. What if I offered you the amazing bargain of Peyton Tolley and Navy Rosario? Surely that's got to get us something. That doesn't look like it. Okay, now we're going to talk about the player that I've been deliberately avoiding. Giovanni Rodriguez. There is an awful lot to like about Giovanni Rodriguez. So much to like about him. He is a masterful defensive player whose offensive skills have been quite high. However, I am somewhat concerned about his offense as he ages. And his durability is also somewhat a concern. He is getting better offensively. That is not in dispute. What is in dispute is whether that offensive improvement is sustainable. Keeping in mind, $10 million per WAR is a reasonable value. $10 million is a pretty damn good deal for Giovanni Rodriguez right now. I would not want to pay any more than that or give him a long-term contract yet. I just don't know that I've seen enough to say Yes, Giovanni Rodriguez is the kind of player we want to build around because he doesn't have a lot of power. He's got some, but he doesn't have a lot of it. Which means he's going to be highly susceptible to how many walks he draws, not his strong suit. How well he hits for average. Again, he's decent, and how much he strikes out. I'm gonna bring him back for another year, but I'm not bringing him back for anything longer than that. I'm certainly not going to give him a contract where you're $20 million a year. That isn't going to happen yet. If he turns in another fantastic season, we'll talk about it. But why he's asking for a no trade clause, but okay. I'd love to get Ernie Zerkes to stick around for another year. Jameer Jemerson, minor league extension. Yeah. Um, who do we have that is coming up on the 40 man? Nobody that important. So the question's gonna. We have a couple questions to answer in the very near future here. Question the first: who the fuck is my first baseman? We traded for two rentals. Both of them are going to depart, and that's Lewis without a first baseman again. Second question is: how do we get better in the outfield? Where does that growth come from? And the fact is, I don't know. I truly cannot fathom where that comes from. Because we don't have a lot of guys in the high minors that are anything other than acceptable. Look, there's several players who I consider to be useful, but I don't have very many players right now that I think are ready for a starting role on the club. Um, so hopefully we can get a little bit of money from our owner to give us some cash in the off season here. Let us simulate up to the Gold Glove Awards. Wonder who we're gonna get as our pitching coach. Luis Cadet is a pretty damn good coach. He's maybe not the coach I would have chosen, but he's at least pretty damn good at his job. So I will accept this. Are you any good? You are not. You're a thoroughly unremarkable catcher in every sense of the word unremarkable. I forgot about player development again. Oh my god. I'm so bad at this, guys. Oh, let's look at prospects. Casey Choate. I would love for you to learn how to throw more strikes, please. If you could do that for me, that would be incredible. Eddie Longoria, I just want you to be good at anything offensively, but let's have you work on your play discipline to start. Eric Hassinger, please work on your control. Jesus Archuleta, please work on your control. Rodolfo Herrero, I would love it if you would work on your plate discipline. And then Mr. Van Trump, I want you to learn how to do anything useful with your bat. I'm gonna have to work on quality of contact. It's a bit risky, but I think we can do it. Maybe. Possibly. Yes. Minor league coaches sign new minor league deals. Amazing. I want to set up our coaching staff to make sure we have players doing what they're the best at. I call Scott Austin should just be like our coach for everything. He's just amazing at everything. Mm. If we need to do bench coach, he's got a really good chance to get promoted to that bench coach role. But I like to having Carlos Vidal being so young and possibly turning into one of the better managers the league had ever seen. Um, I'm really curious to see how he does. We spent a lot of money on our coaches, it's true. Ben Johnson is presently my high A hitting coach. What if I just gave you an extension? Nice. I just like keeping great coaching talent inside the organization. I think it's a real competitive advantage if you can do it consistently and do it well. I don't think we really have anything else to do until free agency begins. A gold glove for Gunnar Henderson and Andy Giacoletto, which I believe is Andy's first. No, it's his second. He won one last year as well. That's back-to-back years for both of them. Well done, gentlemen. Well done. It's gonna be our last ever DH of the Year award. Um, I still don't like not having a DH, but what the fuck ever. I mean, I guess at least it takes a little bit of pressure off of me that I'm not having to produce another everyday hitter. That's pretty handy, which gives me a little more flexibility with how I choose to use my roster. So there's that. Even though double switches are stupid and thinking that is the height of baseball strategy means you don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. I said I wouldn't make any more comments about it. Also, holy shit, Corey Williams had 65 fucking home runs. I have a feeling he might win the MVP this year. It'll be close, but I have a feeling he might win it. I know I would give a guy get 65 home runs the MVP. A standout season for a hussy. SMH in my head. I mean, he's about to be gone anyway, so whatever. Oh, we do have Spencer Jones. I get no, we don't have Spencer Jones. We don't have him to kick around either. A Silver Slugger Award for Gunnar Henderson and Sergio Zapata. How close was Zapata to winning another MVP award? Probably reasonably close. I bet he came in second. Yeah, he did come in second. I'm surprised he didn't get more first place votes, but it's hard to argue with a brand new offensive player just casually hit 63 home runs, 65 home runs. That is a really good player. Like, that is a phenomenal player. And Houston is lucky to have him. Do we get any decent votes? Not even close. So I'm going to get a consideration for reliever of the year. Unless it's because none of my pitchers were healthy enough, maybe. I don't do it for the awards. I do it for being amazing. All right, we're gonna get some free agents here. What do we want? I would like a competent first baseman. Chris Foreman is not that. And I would like 1 to 2 quality veteran outfielders. Potentially. Chris Fowler is a perfectly fine corner outfielder, maybe. He has been consistently one of the better players in the league, but I wonder if he's losing some of his value if he plays outside of that. A first base is number one with a bullet. I wouldn't object to getting maybe a couple guys in the Rule 5 that have some decent pitching arms. Yeah, Jameer Jefferson's not that exciting. He's fine, I guess, but let's try to get ourselves some free agents. I'm going to start by offense. All I care about is offense. I mean, I'd love to be Jesus Montoya. I'm not stupid enough to think we can afford him. That's just not going to happen. Would I love it? Absolutely, I would. He's not coming to me. That's not even a possibility. Junior Caminero, way far out of my league. I'm not even look at Julio Rodriguez. It's going to make you sad to know that I can't afford him. Okay. What if I did a thing so we didn't have quite so much money? Let me use... No, what do I bargain shopping set for? I mean, this is probably more the style of player I can afford. Jordan Beck is a decent choice. I like Jordan Beck as a guy who might want a chance to play every day and maybe show that he still has some value. So I think Jordan Beck is a pretty good starting point. I'm not going to guarantee you a starting lineup, though. I will guarantee you a contract, but I'm not going to guarantee you a starting lineup. It's actually bargain shopping. Maybe it does, actually. I mean, I could bring back Bryce Eldridge for $1.8 million. Um, Not that I was super impressed with him last season, but I think he's elite. No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna fall for the Nathan Rosario trick. I just keep bringing back the same guy year in and year out because he's inexpensive. Didn't I have Zach Veen at one point? I feel like this is a name that I recognize. I guess I didn't. Okay. Like a really good on base guy is also something I wouldn't mind having. All right, let me look at outfielders, and then we're gonna look at batting race. We're gonna look at batting eye. Emmanuel Rodriguez. That's a name I do recall as somebody that we have toyed with acquiring, but $12 million is way too much money. That's just way too much money for a player that may not even be as good as he appears to be. I also want to have some ability to hit for contact. I think that's important. To get the most out of being an on base guy, you've got to be able to both hit for contact and draw walks. I can't just be one or the other. Zach Veen is a decent choice. I feel like signing him doesn't come with much downside. And Brian Welvos was literally just a guy that wants a chance. I just give you a minor league contract with no signing bonus. Sal Frelick is legitimately a pretty solid hitter. He's also very injury prone, which makes him less attractive. Gabriel Gonzalez is outside my price range. Riley Green is outside my price range and also made of you know, balsa wood. Jared Kalenic, if he would take a minor league deal, I would consider it, but I don't want to guarantee him a spot in the lineup. But I'm not convinced he is sufficiently good to deserve it. I could bring Jung Ho Lee back, but I'm not going to. Marion Boyd, I will offer you a contract. By contract, I mean no bonus. Let me look at arms. If I can find a quality pitcher who doesn't want a lot of money, that might just want a chance to rehabilitate their career, I feel like we could use a little bit more depth in the bullpen. I will look at all pitchers. Hell, any kind of pitcher that needs a chance to rehabilitate. It's our old friend Luar Bert Arias, who's been complete dog shit the past few seasons. No, thank you. I'm not gonna help you rehabilitate your career. There's really nothing exciting here. There's really no picture here that's like, oh my gosh, all I need is a chance. I want pitching ratings. Let me sort by stuff. Hunter Green's got good enough stuff. He's a decent reclamation project. Also cost me $0. My favorite kind of reclamation project. Spencer Strider, I think, would be a phenomenal. Ooh, that's too much money. No, I think he's a decent pitcher, but I'm not going to spend that much money on him. I feel like that's too much money for a reliever that may not even make the team. I will sign Mike Sanders. I'm literally meeting your demand. Yeah, if you get promoted, then sure, but you're not going to get promoted. Arias isn't bad, I guess. Joan Duran, maybe, but I kind of already have a bunch of pictures like that anyway. I feel like spending more on relievers isn't going to get me what I'm looking for, especially if Casey Choate forces the issue. He's definitely going to get a long look in spring training. Uh, as a certainty. I could use another starting pitcher, but I think this is a very, very thin market for starting pitchers. I don't think there's a ton of good options here. Like, look how much these mediocre pitchers are getting offered. That's pretty wild. I will happily offer you a contract for $0.00. Um, one veteran starter I think is reasonable. What about Colton Gordon Zimmerman? Wants a lot of money, not great stuff, throws pretty softly, and he's a lefty. I don't think that's what I'm looking for. Bree Russo just sucks. His literally only skill is throwing strikes. I'm not saying that that's not useful, but I'm saying I'm not willing to pay for it. So Andres Arone just got released. I'm not saying he's a phenomenal pitcher, but I'm saying he's decent enough that I'm willing to offer him a contract. Sure. I think that's all I want to spend right now. Let's see what happens as as the off season progresses, and see if we can't maybe grab some decent players, for not too much money. We desperately need Gunnar Henderson's contract to be over at this point. As good as he has been for us, and somebody actually writes a really good point in the comments of the last video, which is no, actually, I talked about that in the last video. Sorry, I realize you all haven't. No, I did talk about it in the last video. Yeah, talked about how he might be the first. Like, maybe there's some young Silver Wolves fan that's like, I love that guy. He's so cool. But I think the first, like, the true Silver Wolf is Jacques Leto, as far as like their first big star. Although he probably sold more than a few season tickets, did Mr. Henderson. I will vote for Zach Gallen because it's pretty yikes in terms of the raw talent level here. I'll vote for Aaron Judge. I'll vote for Frankie Lindor. I will vote for Manny Machado and Andrew McCutcheon and Aaron Nola. My main man Jose Ramirez, Trey Turner, Corey Seager, Salvador. No, I'm not gonna vote for Salvador Perez. I will vote for Shohei Ohtani. And then nobody else here really excites me, which is a shame, but I guess I could vote for Adley Rutschman. I think that's reasonable, and I think that's all I'm gonna vote for. We could easily pitch another shutout. I could easily see this being another year where nobody gets into the Hall of Fame. We'll see, but it's very possible that just nobody gets in because they're not great candidates. Like, there's not a lot to recommend them as being special or even interesting. Jordan Beck wants to play for Charlotte. I want him to play for Charlotte. It's a match made in heaven. I mean, it might end up being the first base instead of left fielder, but we'll figure something out to do with him. Let's just simulate up to the beginning of the Rule 5 draft. If Court Williamson is this good year in and year out, I think Sergio Zapata's MVP stranglehold is gone forever, potentially. Hard to say. Hey, you want to go play in Korea, my guy? Go for it. Do I want to give Zach Levine a guaranteed roster spot? I don't believe that I do. I don't think that's smart. If I lose him in the Rule 5, I lose him in the Rule 5. But I'd rather make sure we have the best players that I can get. Not. Yeah. It's going to be difficult to keep this pitching staff together for too much longer because too many pitchers are just getting too expensive. I mean, granted, we're about to start having a lot more money when Henderson's contract is finally up. But it is a thing to consider. For sure. That's not terrible. I've certainly seen worse choices. We're just gonna let chips fall where they may. I want to try to get a dynamic young hitter and at least an interesting pitcher. That's kind of my goal here. We're probably gonna lose Zach Veen, whatever. I don't care enough to put him on the. I don't care enough to guarantee him a roster spot. Shirkies, Veen, and Milanes. Okay, that is acceptable. I'm not taking a designated hitter. That's stupid. There isn't even a designated hitter in the American League anymore. That is a silly, silly choice. Jeremy Dorsey offers some good leadership, and he's a pretty useful guy at third base. Um, he doesn't have a ton of flexibility though, so we'd be definitely somewhat limited in what we could do with him. I'm willing to draft him just to see, because I think we can always use a little bit more leadership on the club. I think Huascar Inoue is a good enough pitcher to be given an opportunity to win a job in spring training. I shall draft him. Who else might I want? Reggie Buckner. Reggie Buckner offers very little of interest. Interesting. I can't afford to keep him on the major league roster. That's the only reason that's giving me pause. Otherwise, I would very much be interested in giving him an opportunity. It's Miles Naylor. I could have all three Naylors in my organization at one point. What a bargain. He's got some okay positional flexibility. I don't dislike him. I just don't think he offers very much use to me. Jacob Reimer is a little bit better, I think. We can give him an opportunity. A Chryslertunity, one might say. I want to try to get one more interesting arm. Foco Goodson could legitimately be a pretty high caliber reliever if things broke right for him. So I think it is worthwhile, even though I know he doesn't have a ton of utility right now, selecting him and seeing what he can do in the offseason. I think that's good enough for me. I think 5 picks is more than reasonable. Kind of an uninteresting off season. We're basically at a position where we can only really fill holes right now. I don't really have enough money to get creative. We definitely need to buy ourselves a quality international free agent. But so here's the question: is Gunnar Henderson a failure? No. Gunnar Henderson offered us legitimacy. He made us a more attractive place for free agents to come and hang out with us. And he's been a really positive. He's been a really good hitter. He's consistently been very solid from top to bottom. It's true that it's a little bit disappointing that he hasn't ever played at the MVP level he did for Baltimore, but he settled into a pretty nice, like, mid-range career. Not a Hall of Fame worthy talent, in my opinion, but certainly somebody that's worthy of our respect. And it will be challenging to replace him. Not impossible, but challenging. We desperately need high level prospects. and then maybe something how to focus on in the near future. Maybe in doing a little bit in this episode. I need to turn some of these really high potential guys in the low minors into higher floor guys in the low minors and the high minors rather, potentially. The problem is just I've got lots of players in the 40s and I don't have much else. And the players that I have that aren't in that bucket, I'm not willing to trade. So, a couple more good drafts could certainly be in order. A high quality draft can add us some more talent. Anybody good in the Hall of Fame? Aaron Judge. That's reasonable. I'm okay with that. I genuinely think it's going to happen to Andrew McCutchen as well. I could see Andrew McCutchen getting just enough votes to stay on the ballot for a while. I'm more shocked Salvador Perez fell off. I think Salvador Perez is going to have a lot of people that really like him because of his home run totals. Just my opinion. I got in $4.75 million this year, so no. Maybe. Sergio Medina definitely has some attraction to me. David Gaona is pretty damn solid. I love a guy that's got elite plate discipline. They're going to be very valuable. I think unless Alfredo Rivera here is an amazing defender, which he's not, I think he's our choice. I think we're more likely to pick him up, but also I think his elite on base skills are going to make him valuable, even if he never, even has a hard time making the major leagues. So now, very easily could get outbid. If he really cares about money, he's going to go for a different team. But I'm okay with that. I've made my peace with it. I was never keeping him. I don't know why on earth you'd ever thought that was a possibility. I mean, $8 million is more reasonable than I thought he was going to be, but he was never going to stay here. He just wasn't. And hopefully my fans are smarter than that. I need a sustainable. I need a sustainable. Sustainable. Get it right, dipshit. I need a sustainable solution at first base. I need somebody who is young and can hit the baseball. I feel like we just keep going with these patchwork first basemen, and yes, first base is not a challenging position to fill, but for me it is apparently. Apparently, I'm not able to find those good hitting first basemen and turn them into valuable players. Just a lot of our players, apart from the top of the top, are mid tier. Like there's just not much exciting about them. Like they've got a couple of skills here and there, but there's not a lot where you can look at them and say, yes, this player has a super high future with us. Jorge Jacobo putting on some velocity, very appreciated. Jim Herman got a little bit worse. Dusiak got a little bit better. And David Goen is already improving, and we just signed him. That's pretty amazing. You ended up signing with the Samsung Lions. Well, you know what, my friend? Best of luck to you. They're willing to give you money, and I was not. I feel like I'm going to end up tricking myself into spending a lot of money to keep Giovanni Rodriguez and Chris Thomason, and I don't know that either one of them has, at this moment, done enough to earn these big long-term contracts. Especially with the amount of money that they're wanting, which I think is the bigger concern. All right, Van Trump, Boyd, Mr. Choate, Orone, Jameer Jemerson. Okay. I will give Florin Christino a chance too. That's not terrible. Wow, David Guillen just instantly got promoted to rookie ball. That's pretty cool. Yeah, we have a lot of guys that are very far away from the major league. So maybe spring training will help us figure out who is a good and who needs a lot more work. I mean, Nate Quinn is getting a very disturbing propensity to being injured, which is going to probably cost him lots of money in the future. Like, it just keeps happening. And at a certain point, I can't afford to invest substantial resources in a pitcher that isn't going to be around. The most important ability is availability. So investing heavily in a player like that is just not a smart move for us. It just isn't. I feel like our top of the top is so incredible that we're always going to be a competitive team. But I feel like our mid level offensive talent isn't where I'd like it to be. And I feel like I have a lot of questions about these two young players in Thomason and Rodriguez. Casey Cho just added more velocity. That's ridiculous in a good way. Um, hmm. Tim Reeves getting better, Florin getting better, McCadden Gillespie getting better. A lot of players getting better. You'd love to see it. Um, Casey Choate got better. Hassinger got better. All of my hitters got worse. Josh and Trump got worse because he's apparently big stupid. He's a big old dummy. He's like holding the bat the wrong way. I'm not putting anybody in spring training on the IL because there's just no point. But duly noted that he is also injured. Game, can you stop injuring my players? Any fucking day now, man. So far, nobody that's been injured has been crucial to my plans. I mean, Nate Quinn is important, but he's already proven that he's not reliable. And so if we have him, it's amazing. But if we don't, I think we can make some moves to patch that particular hole. Um, we went to Jim Gender. That was his name, right? That was that guy's name. The one I just wouldn't let him go, even though he kept getting hurt. I kept convincing myself, well, this will be the year he stays healthy, and then it just didn't happen. Okay, let's get the roster pared down. Mr. Fowler, sorry to say you'll be starting the season on the IL. All right, pitching. Jake Ramos will be back next week, so I'm not going to fuck with that. I have 21 pitchers. That is an excessive number of pitchers by any measure. Um, okay. Choate and Carrillo both go to the minors. That's an easy choice. Aguirre goes to the minors. Not, Aguirre does not have to be. Yeah, don't lie to me. Alpha Lede is hurt. Also, no game. Fine. Arone is more interesting than Goodson. I'm gonna go ahead and return Goodson. Arone's gonna probably make the team here. Parenticelli gets sent down. Where am I at now? 15 pitchers. I don't want more than 13, so 2 more pitchers gotta go. I feel like Medina's just never gonna pitch. Um, he's too uninteresting, so I'm wondering if I can maybe flip him for a prospect. If not, I'll just waive him. Jeff Kemp and Sean Vogel. I will happily trade for Jeff Kemp. I think he has enough interest to me that we can bring him along. There we go. I really want to keep Arone if we can. I think he's got a lot of potential to be a pretty damn good reliever. That being said, I'm fine with him starting the year in the minor leagues. So that puts us down to 13, which is what I'm looking for in our pitching staff. Let's get the position players way the fuck down. Chris Borman goes to the minors. Nelson Castillo goes to the minors. Jemerson to the minors. Hackett, Rosales to the minors. Um, I think Jeremy Dorsey is returned to his team. I'd rather keep Reimer. Dorsey is younger though. He is younger and has a pretty good power bat, which Reimer doesn't have. You know what? I think we send Reimer back to his home club. I think we have too many infielders, so I gotta make a difficult decision here in a moment. But for now, we'll come back to it. Cristanel offers nothing. Julio Sandoval offers nothing. Josh Van Trump offers nothing at this point in their careers. Steve Chandela offers nothing. That leaves us with 6 outfielders. And I don't really need 2 players that are almost identical, and Buelvas and Boyd, so Buelvas is going to go to the minors. And Boyd is going to be added as an outfielder. So we've got to get rid of 1 more position player. That's going to have to be an infielder. I feel like Kimura deserves to be here, but I don't want to give up on Velasco. And of the 2, I think Velasco has more upside. I guess Kimura has about the same level of upside. I like Dorsey's potential bat a little bit too much to let him walk. This is difficult. This is really difficult. I want to keep all 3 of them, but I cannot. But I don't want to, and I definitely don't want to carry only 4 outfielders. Like, Dorsey has an outside chance at replacing Henderson if and when Henderson leaves the team. I'm not saying it's a great chance, but he has a role on this team in the future. Then again, so does Velasco. Then again, so does Kimura. I feel like Kimura is, of the 3, the least likely to be a top tier player in the future, or even a medium tier player. So I think we go ahead and try to get Kimura through waivers. I guess I could try to trade him and see if anybody is interested in him. I'm getting some offers here. Not very many, but I am getting some. Andy Riley is a terrible infielder. Jeff Cobb doesn't have enough power. Jaquan Mitten has an amazing name, but little else to recommend him. Same with Zion Wiggleton. He's a wiggly little guy. Alejandro Rivera is actually somebody who could be special. This is a player worth trading. I know his arm isn't amazing, but he's such a good hitter. I'll make it work. I'm not even going to keep thinking about this. Give me Kimura. Or Rivera, rather. I'm a little disappointed about losing Kimura, and I do think he's got a chance to at least be a medium tier starting infielder. I just never had a spot for him. We're now down to 26. Which is good. We're gonna skippity doo dah down to opening day. And then we're gonna break down our changes and figure out what we think is gonna happen this year. Nacho Alvarez Jr. What a fucking name. What an amazing name. Want to win the World Series. I also want to win the World Series, but I have no delusions about us having a top 5 minor league system. We're 20th, which is frankly more than I thought. I love how the Brewers have nobody in the top 100 and yet have been thoroughly unremarkable for a very long time. How good is... Holy shit, this kid is special. Holy forking shirt balls. That's a good baseball player. Not that I don't have good baseball players, but they're all very, very far away from contributing in the major leagues. Very far. So. Anyways, what are we looking at for our starting lineup this year with no DH? It's not terrible. Our rotation is phenomenal. Our rotation is great. We're going to get good pitching performances. We've got a very deep bullpen with lots of quality pitchers in it. And then we have the lineup. If this lineup plays from day 1 to day 162, we're going to be very, very competitive. But I don't think that's realistic. I don't think Jason Dominguez has that in him anymore to play a full season. Which makes us signing him for so much money even more stupid, but we can get out of the contract if we need to. The two new starting players are Colt Long, who did play reasonably well in limited playing time last year. Is he the answer in right field? Probably not, but he is at least an answer. He has potential. What about Jordan Beck? What are we going to get out of him? I genuinely don't know. Genuinely do not know. And I feel like there's also not a lot of pressure on him, but I would like to get secondary scoring. I think it's going to be important. Zapata has to be protected. People have to fear either Gunnar Henderson or Giovanni Rodriguez enough, or Jason Dominguez or somebody, not to actually give Zapata shit to hit. Otherwise, we're going to see late career Barry Bonds where he just gets walked all the fucking time because they can. I don't like Thomason hitting second. I wish we had a more traditional second place hitter. I'd rather have Gunnar Henderson hit second and Thomason at cleanup, but we lack top end power. That is probably our number one weakness as a club. We have some players that have some offensive talent. With Reeves, with Beck, with Reeves and Zapata, we have some pretty decent power. But we're going to see how this turns out. I have every confidence that we'll be a competitive team and probably make the playoffs again. Is our ceiling World Series or bust? That's a much harder question to answer. And I have a feeling that losing the DH is going to have an interesting impact on how we play the game. For sure. But that is going to be it for today's episode. Hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, remember to like and subscribe. You can comment down below. Let me know how you think we're going to do. And until next time, this has been Guardian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.